Greetings. Welcome to the jump off. This is your host, Doug the Organic One, back at you with another one. And we're gonna get right into it. But people who are naturally empathetic, especially ones who understand behavior, trauma, and people in general, almost if unchecked, can end up handicapping themselves by over understanding everybody who does something to them, if that makes sense. And you become so good at explaining why people do what they do, and that you start excusing what they do. And sometimes you really need to just listen to your first mind that says and acknowledges the fact of the matter is that you got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. You all have me fucked up. And the first mind is one that recognizes the behavior before you started unpacking their feelings and childhood trauma. And if somebody has made a habit of crossing your boundaries or disrespecting you or antagonizing you, maybe for starters, you should give them exactly what they're looking for. Not because, revenge is healthy or because cruelty is the answer, but because people rarely respect lessons that they haven't experienced firsthand. And we all know the cliche. We all know that we should treat others the way we want to be treated. And but showing people themselves has a way to fast tracking certain lessons. And I'm not gonna lie, watching somebody realize that they're not the only one capable of being mean or hurting somebody's feelings, that moment, right, like that moment in time, can be so therapeutic in a twisted way, but on their behalf, well deserved. If you're determined to be a tyrant, don't be shocked when somebody hands you a mirror and shows you yourself. Which brings me to this very phenomenon at a very pivotal point in history. And that brings me to the fascinating American hero that pushed America to make great strides and leaps and bounds to be progressive and move in the right direction. And that hero is Nat Turner. Marinate. But if you don't know who he is, you should definitely do your research. You definitely should have paid attention a little bit somewhere. But like I said, if you don't know, to say the least, a bad man. And we can say for certain, definitely not one of the founding fathers' favorite all-time classics. But he forced America to confront something that had plagued the nation and for generations at that, and they pretended like it wasn't a problem. And regardless of his methods, he had to do what he had to do to push America forward. And he forced America to confront that very thing, which was slavery, and stand up for himself and his people, and refuse to allow something that was unacceptable. Unrelated, but kind of related, this reminds me of another time I went to bat with Nat back in college. And we had one of those, first day of classes, icebreaker assignments. And it was, if you could have breakfast with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be? And mind you, this is a very PWI. And I'm sitting there listening. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. We even got the philosophical Mark Twain. Mark Twain. Nigga Joe. Mark Twain. That's who we want pancakes and two over easy with. I damn near knee jerked out of my seat at the just back to back WTFs out of all the people. But nonetheless, I sat there, I listened. So by the time it got to me, I was about eighth or ninth in the row. And I stood up gleefully, knowing I made the right choice. And listening to all this madness that transpired before me, if I could have brunch, because we're definitely drinking, I went straight to brunch. If I could have brunch, not breakfast, which would be a hell of a start to the day, I definitely pick Nat Turner. And the room went silent. Not regular silence. I'm talking like Netflix buffering silence. And I looked straight into the eyes of my very stoned, Mac Jones looking ass community college professor who was frozen in astonishment, peeking over his Ray-Bans. And like, I'm talking like dead silent. You could hear if somebody was blinking, but they didn't. Eyes were wide open and mouths just frozen. Pure comedy to me. So, I continued after taking it all in. I said, I'd ask him, what was the sack that broke the slave's back? What what's your favorite part that the history books leave out, but you loved? Or did you have one-liners? Like, surprise motherfucker, like what were the intricacies of this revolutionary you know action that you just decided to pursue out of nowhere? Like, did you have signature moves like the nat whack or the turn and burn? Like, I know for a fact history left out a lot of just left out a lot of shit, like they do in the comic books versus the movies. Like, people who are avid in those spaces, they always acknowledge the fact that they left out the best parts. But, American hero nonetheless. And he's truly one of the true American heroes that laid the bricks for the new foundation that laid built the ass for new salvation. And I think nobody knew whether they wanted to laugh or report me or hit me. You need to leave. Like, in reflection, like, it wasn't just for pure shock value or anything like that to just rile people up and combat what they had, because I didn't know. But the point was perspective. History remembers people differently depending on who's writing it. And that's why I say this. Stop giving people unlimited grace to repeatedly weaponize yours, and start whooping ass like Uncle Jerome, and understanding somebody doesn't obligate you to tolerate them, and compassion without boundaries becomes permission. So stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to let people experience the consequences of fucking around and finding out. Belt the ass for tyrants. Empathy is for mistakes, not for people who choose to do things because they know that you'll forgive them. That's all I got for y'all. But yeah, I'm out. I thought I had something else for y'all, but I don't. So I ain't gonna force it. But yeah, I'll be back with another one.